Hello learners, in our previous programs we have discussed about how our earth came in existence and what conditions were available for the survival of life on our earth planet. During the evolution of life on earth, firstly simple forms were originated, later on fungi, algae, plants and animals including mammals evolved. Humans is also belongs to Mammalia class and scientific name of humans is Homo sapiens. I am Neelam Gupta. Welcome you in this program. Learners, today we will discuss a lesson number 3, degradation of natural environment. This will be discussed in two parts. Humans evolved about 2 million years ago and since then they have depended upon nature for all their needs, be it for food, shelter or protection and more recently for their growths toward material comforts. These resources were in abundance then. However, with increase in human population, these natural resources have started being drawn at an increasing rate. Today, it has reached a level of exploitation to meet our greater demands. Harmful effects of this reckless exploitation is all around to see in the form of natural disasters. In this lesson, you shall learn how human activities degrade and deplete the natural resources and thereby harm the environment that we are dependent upon. We the humans are among the biotic component of the environment. In other words, we can be separated from the environment as an independent entity. Moreover, we draw all our requirements for survival from the earth or nature, be it oxygen for respiration or food for nutrition and energy or shelter to save ourselves from predators. We also dispose of waste into the environment. The ability of nature are amazing. We have already given you an idea about humans, how appeared on earth, how they obtained their food, clothing and other substance from nature, how humans started life as nomadic hunter and gatherers to begin a settled life and make shelters for themselves. Around 12,000 years ago, humans learned to grow their food and then began to sell the surplus to others. Surplus crops were transported to other places and for transportation they discovered wheel. Transportation became easier. Humans moved to newer places to raise new crops and also begin to domestic animals. While primitive humans were mining flint to make tools, they came across metal ores and mining and refining metals by heating began. They made a lot of articles with bronze, tin and later with iron. Soon they embarked on manufacturing activity and industrialization began thus. Rapid expansion of industrialization has resulted in depletion of natural resources and pollution of the environment. The very survival of humans is now threatened because of environmental degradation. So that the objective of the today's program are explain the concept of environment degradation and factors that cause it, describe how exploitation of natural resources leads to environmental degradation and factors that cause it, discuss how population growth, deforestation and urbanization has adversely affected the environment. Now come to the concept of environmental degradation. What is environmental degradation? It is the deterioration of the environment through depletion of resources such as air, water and soil, the destruction of ecosystem and extinction of wildlife. So we can define environmental degradation as, it is defined as any change or disturbance to the environment perceived to be deleterious or undesirable. It is caused by the combination of an already very large and increasing human population, continually increasing economic growth and application of resource depletion and polluting technology. We the humans are among the biotic component of the environment. In other words, we cannot be separated from the environment as an independent entity. Moreover, we draw all our requirement for survival from the earth or nature, be it oxygen for respiration or food for nutrition and energy or shelter to save ourselves from predators. We also dispose of waste into the environment. The ability of nature are amazing. Now welcome to the next section, that is reckless exploitation of natural resources led to environmental degradation. It means there exists an ecological balance in nature. The interaction between a biotic and biotic component are so fine-tuned that there exists an equilibrium in nature. Uncontrolled human activities caused damage to the environment and interfered with this equilibrium. Some examples of human activities that led to environment degradation are shown in a figure. These are various activities which are responsible for environmental degradation. There is enough of everything on earth for man's need, but not for man's greed. Before we go about environmental degradation, firstly, we will take about what includes to form nature. What is nature? The mountains, the seas, the rivers and lakes, the forest and the plains. Humans have over the years increased alarmingly in numbers. So forests have been cut to make place for human habitation, cultivation of crops, erecting industries and using wood for fuel and furniture. Now comes to the forest. Forests being cut down for so many activities you can see in the figure. Forests are natural resources, but they have been cut down for use by humans, for converting them into the cultivable field, for building houses and for taking away logs for making shelters and furniture or fuel. The rate at which trees are cut far exceeds the rate at which trees grow, so forests are getting denuded. Deforestation removes trees are carbon sinks and take away carbon dioxide, the greenhouse gas for photosynthesis. No trees, so carbon dioxide accumulates in the atmosphere and cause global warming. Roots of the trees hold the soil in place. Trees have gone, so there is frequent soil erosion and landslides. Also, evapotranspiration is an event of the water cycle. No trees, no transpiration, so no rains. Next is soil erosion. Trees lost lots of water through transpiration. This helps in forming rain clouds. Cutting of trees and clearing of forests reduce rainfall in the area. Also, removal of plants and trees leads to soil erosion. Now, next come to the wildlife. Forests are natural habitats of wildlife. Extinction of wildlife species is on the rise because their natural habitats are being destroyed due to deforestation. Or we can say many wild animals live in forests, their homes are lost and many have become extinct or are on the verge of extinction. For details, you will study in our next program. Now we come to energy sources. Overuse of non-renewable resources such as coal, natural gas and petroleum is leading to their depletion. Next is acid rain. Figure shows acid rain falling on the glass. On the other hand, polluting the natural environment is excessive burning of coal, wood, kerosene, petrol, etc. Release toxic gases such as sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons in the air. These gases are also emitted by industries, power plants, automobiles and aircrafts. The toxic gases pollute air, which adversely affects human health and plants. Acid water from mines, toxic waste of industries, chemical fertilizers and pesticides from agricultural field have polluted rivers and other water bodies. Next, causes of soil pollution. The problem of soil pollution is increasing day by day in villages, cities and industrial areas due to faulty disposal of solid and liquid waste generated from households and industries. Thus, humans have spoiled the environment by depleting natural resources to a critical level and causing pollution to natural water bodies and land areas. Now we come to our next section, that is impact of population growth on environment. Impact of population growth on environment shows in figure. There are several causes. 5 million people live in the world at the time when agriculture began about 12,000 years ago. The population in our country alone is now well above 1 billion. It means enormous increase in human population is making the future of humans insecure. Now comes to the factors leading to rise population. Factors leading to rise of population are improved agriculture protection helped in increased for population and thus more food became available. Second, progress in medicine not only prevented death due to epidemics and injuries but make early diagnosis and treatment of diseases possible, thus longevity increased. Next is impact of population growth on environment. With growing population, requirement for space, shelter and commodities have exerted enormous pressure on the environment. To provide for these, land use has changed dramatically. It has already been seen that forests have been cleared for cultivation of grain and fruit crops. Clearing land for cultivation to grow more food, forests and natural grasslands have been converted to farmlands, wetlands have been drained and arid lands have been irrigated. These changes have been made to grow more food and more raw materials, but in doing so, the natural resources have been depleted and the landscapes have undergone drastic changes. For example, forests have been cleaned over large for cultivation of agriculture crops. Many mangrove forests known to reduce erosion and stabilize shorelines have been cleared, used for growing food crops to meet the needs of the growing population. Next is water scarcity. Water received as rainfall flows into rivers, lakes and other water bodies. Some of it seeps into the underground and reach the groundwater. At certain depth of the soil, all the pore spaces between soil particles are saturated with water. This depth is called water table edges. The water table may remain stable if the drawn from the groundwater is replenished by the seepage of the rainwater, but if water withdrawal exceeds beyond the rate of replenishment of the groundwater table, keep on receding and resulting in drying out of wells. In many areas, excessive withdrawal has depleted groundwater resources, causing acute water scarcity. Next is need for human settlements. Apart from excessive land use, changes for growing food, large population means greater requirement for shelter. To make houses for so many, stones and other building materials have to be quarried, more rocks have to be blown off and more water to be used. Next is need for transport. Elaborate network of transport is required to fulfill the growing need of teeming billions. Various modes of transport have been developed which consume growing quantities of fossil fuels such as coal, gas and petroleum, polluting the atmosphere. Next is need for various commodities, articles of everyday use such as plastic vessels, mugs, buckets, etc., agricultural implements, machinery, chemicals, cosmetics, etc. are manufactured in factories. The raw materials and fossil fuels and water needed to run industries for making these products lead to their depletion. Rapid industrialization has also led to pollution from dumping of industrial effluents into river and other water bodies. Next, rapid industrialization has caused much damage to the environment. Mining activities have depleted stock of mineral and resources, particularly fossil fuels. Present day industrial civilization is becoming a burden on nature and it is time for us to learn to live in harmony with nature. Next is slum development. Overpopulated areas result in congested roads and slum formation which lacks basic amenities like drinking water, drainage, waste disposal, lack of hygienic conditions and filthy environment create potential conditions for public health problems including spread of epidemic diseases, discharge of untreated effluents and throwing of waste into water bodies have polluted most of the lakes and rivers. Pollution resulting from overpopulation, that is holy river Ganga, Yamuna and other suffering from pollution due to discharge of effluents from industries, human settlements, bathing, washing of clothes and throwing of garbage into the river. You can see this figure, people bathing in river Ganga. Next section, that is deforestation and its consequences. This figure shows causes of deforestation. Forests are found all over the world except the polar regions. Originally, forests cover 1/3 of the land area. You have already learned that since the beginning of human evolution, they have depended on the forest resources. Forests are nature's major processors of solar energy. It can be for developmental activities, firewood, timber, pasture and shift cultivation, etc. They provide habitat for diverse kind of organisms including large wild animals, Primitive humans too lived in forest and were completely dependent on forest for survival till they took to farming. Cutting of trees in forest is called deforestation. Deforestation has taken place for various purposes at an alarming rate in different parts of the world, resulting in severe loss of wild plants and animals. Forests have been cleared for the various reasons. First is developmental activities. As humans begin leading a settled life, crop fields, building, roads, industries, schools, hospitals, railway and irrigation canals, etc. became necessary developmental activities. Forests were cleared to meet the need for land needs for the above developmental activities. For timber and wood, wood is used in building construction, making furniture and other articles for human use. Trees that yield wood grow in the forest and were cut down for timber. Use of firewood for cooking and heating, etc. also contribute to deforestation. Next, for pasture, forests are cleared to grow grasses and converted into grassland for grazing by cattle. Next is shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation is a system of crop cultivation involving cleaning of forest and burning the fallen trees to clear the land for raising crops. This is continued process. Due to this, every year a new forest areas is cleared for cultivation and same cycles is repeated. Now we come to the consequences of deforestation. There are several consequences: soil erosion, silting, climate change, loss of carbon dioxide, sink, landslide, etc. We can take one by one in detail. First we take soil erosion. Trees intercept rainfalls and cutting of trees and removal of plants leads soil erosion. Plants' roots hold the soil in place with loss of protecting cover of plants. Topsoil that is rich in organic matter is washed away and the soil lost its fertility. Second is landslide. Soil erosion ultimately caused landslide in hilly areas. This is because the roots that held the soil in position are no more there. Next is silting. As a loose soil from deforested land gets washed away with rain, it causes silting of rivers and lakes. Loss of habitat. Wild animals lived in forest. Cutting forest means loss of their habitat, which in turn renders them endangered or even extinct. Next is pollution. When trees are cut to use for making furniture or paper, the sawmills and paper mills pollute water in which they dump the waste. Deforestation results in change of climate since trees make the surroundings humid. Loss of trees leads to loss of humidity. Also, transpiration from plants makes rainwater clouds and so rainfall is reduced due to deforestation. Next is loss of carbon dioxide sink. Pollutants released by industries. Carbon dioxide is taken up by trees. When forests are denuded, this carbon dioxide sink is lost and carbon dioxide collects in the environment. Next is loss of medicinal and other useful plants. Unique medicinal plants grow in certain forests. They are lost due to deforestation. Aromatic herbs, rubber trees and other useful plants are also lost due to deforestation. Thus, forest destruction leads to large scale environmental degradation. Now we come to the end of this program. Now it's time to remember that what we have learned so far we summarize in the form of what you have learnt. First, we depend on environment for survival as it gives us oxygen to breathe, food to eat and water to drink. We also get fiber, medicines, fuel, etc. from environment. As growth of human population spread of became agrarian culture and industrialization lead to the environmental degradation in two ways: depletion of natural resources and pollution of the environment, that is air, water and soil pollution. Natural resources have been depleted through deforestation, excessive use of fossil fuels, mining, etc. Air has been polluted by toxic gases emitted from motor vehicles, toxic waste discharged into water bodies. Better medical facilities and food for all has increased longevity and cut down infant mortality and death due to epidemics. This has resulted in increase in population. Demands of increased population like land for housing and cultivation of food crops, industrialization, fossil fuels as source of energy resource for industries and homes, groundwater have been depleted and air, water and soil polluted. Humans have cut down trees and cleared forests to obtain firewood and timber and to get land for agriculture and human settlements. Deforestation has resulted in serious loss of biodiversity. Environment is something which we did not inherit from our ancestors but have borrowed it from our children. Humans' life and clear, healthy environment are the two most valuable possessions, but the degraded environment has spelled doom for environment and consequently human survival. Think green. Thank you.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो। मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
पच्चीस साल का लंबा सफर और लाखों लोगों के चेहरों पर खिलती मुस्कान, गर्व और गरिमा से जीने की प्रेरणा देती मुस्कान, आत्मसम्मान और विश्वास से पैदा हुई मुस्कान। इन खिलते चेहरों पर ये मुस्कान आई है शिक्षा के जरिए। ये मुस्कान आई है नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग यानी NIOS के जरिए। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग या राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान, इस संस्थान का एक बड़ा उद्देश्य है आम आदमियों के जीवन को बेहतर बनाना। ऐसे लोग जिनके लिए शिक्षा एक दूर का सपना है, या वे बच्चे जो परिवार की रोजी रोटी कमाने के लिए बीच में ही स्कूल छोड़ने पर मजबूर हो जाते हैं। NIOS ऐसे बच्चों और बड़ों को दोबारा शिक्षा से जुड़ने का मौका मुहैया कराता है ताकि वे एक बेहतर जीवन जी सकें। 1989 में स्थापना के बाद NIOS ने देश के लाखों बच्चों और वयस्कों को बेहतर शिक्षा से जोड़ा है। इनमें हर उम्र, हर पृष्ठभूमि, हर जाति, हर मजहब और हर क्षेत्र के लड़के लड़कियां, महिलाएं और पुरुष शामिल हैं। बढ़ई से लेकर पायलट, डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, बेकर और दर्जी तक NIOS कोशिश कर रहा है सबको शिक्षित और सशक्त बनाने की, चाहे वो असम के दूर दराज इलाके में रहने वाला हो या फिर मुंबई जैसे महानगर का। NIOS ने अपनी मौजूदगी हर जगह दर्ज कराई है। NIOS ने शिक्षा की परंपरागत सोच को ही बदल दिया है। वो पढ़िए जो हम पढ़ाते हैं की जगह NIOS की नई सोच है, हम वो पढ़ाते हैं जो आप पढ़ना चाहते हैं। इस नई सोच ने लोगों को आगे बढ़ने और NIOS के साथ जुड़ने के लिए प्रोत्साहित किया है। शिक्षा उपलब्ध कराने के मामले में NIOS किसी सीमा को नहीं मानता, उम्र की सीमा को भी नहीं। चंडीगढ़ के गणेश के लिए भी NIOS एक वरदान साबित हुआ। NIOS शारीरिक रूप से अक्षम बच्चों को भी बेहतर शिक्षा मुहैया कराने के लिए पूरी तरह प्रतिबद्ध है। ऐसे बच्चों के लिए शिक्षा न केवल रोजगार के द्वार खोलती है, बल्कि उन्हें आत्मविश्वास और गर्व के साथ जीना भी सिखाती है। NIOS खेल के इन सितारों को उनकी सुविधा और समय के अनुसार बेहतर शिक्षा उपलब्ध कराता है। मेरी कॉम, सोमदेव देववर्मन, देविका रेबेका पल्लिकल, अरमान इब्राहिम, प्रद्युमन प्रकाश और अमयजोत सिंह। NIOS सीमा पर खड़े उन प्रहरियों को भी शिक्षा से लाभान्वित करता है जो देश की सुरक्षा के लिए अपनी जान की बाजी लगाने से भी नहीं चूकते। सच तो ये है कि NIOS की पहुंच हर ओर रहती है, चाहे वो दूर दराज के आदिवासी हो या जेल की कोठरी में बंद कैदी या फिर ग्रामीण और शहरी क्षेत्रों के गरीब निवासी। देश में कहीं भी कोई भी व्यक्ति, स्त्री, पुरुष, लड़का, लड़की, अमीर, गरीब शिक्षा से वंचित न रहे। राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान का यही मिशन है।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय शिक्षा संस्थान पूरे देश में शिक्षा के साथ साथ कौशल विकास के क्षेत्र में बहुत सारे कोर्सेज दे रहा है। लगभग 100 से ज़्यादा कोर्सेज हैं। हम दूर दराज के गांव में अपने संस्थान बनाते हैं और वहाँ के बच्चों को, वहाँ के बच्चियों को, वहाँ के वयस्कों को हुनर के क्षेत्र में शिक्षा पहुँचाते हैं। आपको जानकर खुशी होगी कि अब हम आर्ट्स, साइंस, कॉमर्स जिन क्षेत्रों में 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाता रहा है, अब हम हुनर के क्षेत्र में, वोकेशनल एरिया में भी 10वीं और 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेशन करेंगे। तो वो बच्चे जो कृषि से जुड़े हुए हैं, कारपेंट्री से जुड़े हुए हैं या दूसरे क्षेत्रों से जुड़े हुए हैं, वो अपने ही क्षेत्र में काम करेंगे, सीखेंगे, हुनर पैदा करेंगे अपने में और सर्टिफाइड भी होंगे कि वो सर्टिफाइड कृषक हैं, खेतिहर हैं। तो आज तक जो हमारे देश में ये सोच रही है कि आप 12वीं पास तभी कहे जाएंगे जब भूगोल, अर्थशास्त्र, भौतिकी ये पढ़ेंगे, अब ये समय बदल गया है। ITI में जितने बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, लगभग 18 लाख बच्चे हर साल दाखिला लेते हैं। अब हम उनको सर्टिफिकेशन करेंगे।
NIOS अपने छात्रों को माध्यमिक स्तर पर 26 और उच्च माध्यमिक स्तर पर 19 विषयों का विकल्प देता है। पढ़ाई किस माध्यम से करनी है, इसमें भी आपको लचीलापन मिलेगा। माध्यमिक स्तर पर ही 7 भाषाओं के अलग अलग माध्यमों का विकल्प मौजूद है। शैक्षणिक कार्यक्रमों के अलावा 86 वोकेशनल शिक्षा कार्यक्रम भी उपलब्ध हैं, जो छात्रों को कामकाजी दुनिया के लिए तैयार करते हैं। वोकेशनल प्रशिक्षण को अधिक सुदृढ़ बनाने के लिए NIOS ने ITDC, सिस्को, इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन जैसे कई सरकारी और गैर सरकारी संस्थानों के साथ भागीदारी स्थापित की है। आज लाखों छात्रों के लिए अपनी पसंद का स्कूल है राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान यानी नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग। NIOS ने एक लंबा सफर तय किया है, लेकिन मंजिल अभी दूर है। निरंतर विकास और नवीनीकरण के लिए NIOS सदैव प्रतिबद्ध है। शिक्षा का उद्देश्य महज रोजगार जुटाना ही नहीं है, बल्कि स्वयं को सशक्त बनाना भी है। NIOS लाखों छात्रों के लिए यही आत्मसम्मान दिलाने में जुटा है। लाखों लोगों के लिए एक आशा और उम्मीद है। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग। शिक्षा सबके लिए, कहीं भी, कभी भी।